guys, Trudy here from It's a True Story, and today we're going to do a little true story time. Yeah, that's right. I'm going to tell you guys about something that's kind of personal. You don't have to talk publicly about this, but maybe you have it too. I'm going to talk about my panic disorder, which is something I am super grateful I have, and I sort of love it. And I know that sounds insane and stupid because if you know what a panic disorder is, or anxiety, you know it's horrendous and you wouldn't wish it on your worst enemy. Let me step it back and tell you about the first time I had a panic attack. It was a long time ago. I was just newly out of college and I had this great job doing exactly what I wanted to do. I worked for a magazine. It was like so great that it was like 80 hours a week great. I had a boyfriend who lived far away. I moved home, which is awesome because I do love my parents, but it was from being with all my friends and just having a very free lifestyle to being in this whole situation with the job and the long distance and the whole thing. Here's the thing you need to know about panic and anxiety. You're taking a test, maybe a little anxiety, your heart races, you're nervous, that's normal. Or you're speaking in front of an audience, and that's normal too. There's lots of ways that your body tells you that you're getting a little nerved out. When it's not normal is when it hits you and it just feels a little overwhelming, which is what happened to me. And it doesn't always happen in the moment, because my story was that I was visiting that boyfriend from far away. I finally had a weekend off. We were doing a beautiful hike in a nice forest setting. It was a gorgeous day, and then all of a sudden everything was not awesome. I was pretty sure I was going to pass out. I felt super lightheaded and dizzy. My heart started beating really hard, and I just thought maybe I was overexerting myself or coming down with the flu or something like that. I didn't know what it was, and it was scary. Leave the woods, leave the hike, just like what you would do if you had the flu or something. Went inside, chillaxed a little bit, and the feeling sort of went away, but it didn't go away totally. It kept coming back, and it kept coming back. So I thought, well, it must be a flu without any kind of other symptoms like a fever. That was the last day of my trip anyways, and I was heading home. And getting on an airplane and having that feeling was awful. And like all of a sudden it was worse. Like I couldn't breathe, more dizziness, more lightheadedness, more, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna faint. So then I got home. And it still didn't dissipate. I call my doctor and I tell him my symptoms. And my doctor says, oh, sounds like you have a panic disorder. I said, wait, what? Like, I have symptoms. These are physical symptoms. You've got to check me out. Okay, fine. So I go in to see the doctor and he says, I'm pretty sure this is what it is, but if you want some more referrals, that's fine. And so I proceeded because this is the thing you need to know about panic disorders and anxiety is it's really physical. Like it's not just like all in your head because you really feel like there's something wrong. And I went on and got checked and had all sorts of appointments. I did EKGs and EEGs. I looked like 11 from Stranger Things. I was hooked up to a million electrodes. Nothing showed up. So by the time I called the third doctor on the phone and described my symptoms and he said, that sounds like a panic disorder, I started believing that that could be a real thing. It was a referral then to a therapist. The therapist was amazing. I'm talking publicly about this, but you can talk privately about this, and you have to. Talk to a parent, talk to your friends, talk to somebody else that might not have ever experienced what you're going through, but is sympathetic, that can help you get to the person that can really help you. Now, the doctor I saw was really helpful because he was a cognitive behavioral therapist. So that means it wasn't like I was sitting on a couch talking about all the things in my life. It was more like, well, what's going on? And so I went back and talked about the things that were going on. The crazy job that I thought was the best thing ever that I can't possibly leave. And that relationship that wasn't the best one, but I have to try because I have to. That wasn't true either. And even living where I was living with my parents who I loved, it was time for me to move on. So all those things put together, this doctor helped me really talk through and figure out. So my doctor said the simple thing to me, if you don't feel well, if you have a feeling that you're lightheaded, that you're gonna faint, that you're gonna fall over, that you've got the flu, guess what? That just means that you need to excuse yourself out of a situation. That's not always easy to do, but most times, if not all times, it's doable. Now for me, talking things out was really what all it took. There's also medications. There's all sorts of things that you can do to deal with your anxiety so that it doesn't impinge on your life. So let me tell you why my panic disorder is actually my best friend. So in that phase of life, I worked things out, and guess what? The panic attacks, the anxiety subsided. And I didn't have any of those feelings anymore for a long period of time. But then life took some different turns, and I was in sort of a similar situation where I started my family, I was living in a city, everything was awesome, I had a great job, I was happy, everything was cool. And then we decided, you know what, maybe it's time to make a move. We're gonna go out to the suburbs. You know, my son, who was calling everybody mommy, like the nanny, the pacifier, me, maybe I'll give it a shot at me just being the mommy. So we moved. That move was awesome, and everything was perfect. It was like the most perfect place in the world. Kids, and they could ride their bikes, and they could just hang out, and it was easy and good and fun or whatever. But there wasn't a lot for me to do outside of take care of the kids. And that's important. Love taking care of the kids, but you know what? All of a sudden, and it was just like the time before, I had a little day off. I decided to go into the city to visit a friend. I'm trying on clothes, I'm in a dressing room, and all of a sudden, that old feeling of I'm going to pass out on the floor and now I can't breathe came over me. And this time, I knew what that was. And that was my sign to go take care of business. And I came home that day and I said to my husband, guess what? Like, this is not working. And I know this is not working because my body is telling me that this is not working. And I have to shift whatever I can, whenever I can, as quickly as I can, because I can't live in a state of panic and anxiety. And so that story had a happy ending because we were able to wrap things up and move along, and everything was cool. So this is my story. Your story may be similar to that too. You may be having anxiety or panic. And so I have a few things for you to do. Number one, the first thing you have to do is normalize it. This is something that happens to a lot of people. This is maybe even something that happens to everybody at some point in their life. Number two, talk to somebody. You don't need to talk publicly like I am right now. You can talk to a friend, you can talk to your parents, you can talk to somebody else who might understand. And most importantly, I say go talk to a professional, somebody who can help you, somebody who can help you talk your problems out, somebody who can prescribe medication if you need. It's all good, whatever it takes for you to stop that spiral, because the anxiety is a circle, right? So you feel anxiety about your anxiety, and before you know it, you're down a big, fat, ugly rabbit hole of fear and anxiety. And number three, be grateful. Now, I'm not saying like being like all preachy, like be grateful, be thankful. No. What I'm talking about grateful is finding the good, finding what is good about your life, finding what is good about your anxiety. What was good about my anxiety is it was like a bullshit meter. Like, I can't live in this stupid bullshit job or this stupid bullshit town. Now, I hate to put it that way, but it was causing me anxiety. And if it's causing you anxiety, you gotta listen to yourself and know that your brain is giving you those physical symptoms just to give you a warning signal. And you gotta respond because you gotta take care of yourself. So that's my story, guys. It's a true story. So tell me your story in the comments. And also, please subscribe, please like. I'm trying all sorts of new stuff. Now you got to know me a little bit in a way that you never knew me before. And next week I'll get back to the shenanigans. But for now, have a great week. And you know what? Don't worry about it. Seriously, stop your worrying.